So this is going to be the beginning of my beginner crochet lessons. So before I start talking about different hooks, tensions, different yarns, all of that stuff, what I'm going to do first is just, for those of you who already know that stuff, go right into the crochet stitches. So we're going to obviously start with a slip stitch, then we're going to start, with a chain, joining, and then single crochet, etc. We'll move our way up, but at one point I am going to have either full tutorial, partial tutorial, be on the tools that you will be using, ones that you will absolutely need, and also tension, how to hold the yarn, how to hold the hook. Now, I am left-handed, but I do crochet with my right hand. So, unfortunately, if you're left-handed, the only thing I can do is show you pictures from an amazing book that I have as we go along. But this is Susan Bates' crochet hook. Now, this is called either inline or tempered. I always get them mixed up, but you'll see a lot of them, most of them are more rounded, and these have more of a kind of, I would say inline to them, but I feel like it's not the inline. This is a 5mm, and this one here is a 4mm, I believe. My two favorite ones. And then the other ones look like this. As you can see, this is what I mean by more rounded. So I have been trying to find some, I don't want to say ergonomic, because this isn't really, but ones with the rubber handle, but are more defined, like the blue one, as opposed to this one. These are really, really good and quick with acrylic. These are phenomenal if you're working with cotton that tends to split, or you have a tight tension. But we'll get into that as things go, because this is going to be a long journey, long process. So first, I'm going to use my 5mm crochet hook. I don't have my actual tripod, so I hope this works out good. I'm using the Bernat ombre cotton. So what will be a part of the course at one point is the labels that they come in and what is important on them to read. But for now, the only thing that you need to know right now is you will see here, if it'll focus, the recommended crochet hook size. This is recommended 5mm. Great. You don't always have to go by the recommended. Once you get comfortable, you will get to know if you want to whatever size. I don't know. I always tend to use either my 5 or my 4mm hook if I want to go a little bit smaller. I've been using 5.5 lately. And for those of you who do have any of this Bernat ombre, they call it, striped, it does not have a center pull. So I found that out the hard way, but I did end up getting a free skein of yarn. So this is going to be part of, I am challenging myself to make a crochet top in all of the colors that I have in the Bernat yarn, which some are over here. Green is Junebug, red is Azalea. I just finished a shirt in the blue, so I won't be doing that. I have creamsicle and a bunch more, and some also at home. So the first thing we're going to start off with is a slip stitch. So this is basically how you're going to get your yarn onto the hook so you can keep working. Now I see a lot of people doing it, you know, just fancy ways like this. I find there's no really need for that. Like, it looks almost like people doing a magic loop, which we will eventually get into, but a lot of people struggle with it. I do already have 2 different tutorials on my YouTube about the magic loop if you already kind of know but you just don't know how to do it. I found 2 different ways to do it, and I wasn't able to for like almost 9 years. I couldn't do it, but and this tutorial just, it clicked. When it clicks, it clicks. And if you're starting for the first time and you're getting really frustrated not being able to get the yarn wrapped around or whatever the case may be, just be patient. Don't get frustrated. It is really frustrating at first to try to get used to holding the yarn and the hook together and everything. Think of it as like 3D geometry, and you are just moving everything around. So as opposed to a machine that can just do straight, linear kind of loops, this is completely different. It's the only fiber art that can be made by hand and cannot be replicated by a machine. So this is always, we're going to call this the tail end of your working yarn. So the tail end is always the end that you start off with and you basically don't use it again afterwards. Then the rest, the part that is attached to your giant ball of yarn, is your working yarn. So for me, to make a slip knot, I just find it easiest here, wrap it around both fingers, take it out, and then as if you're going to like tie a knot, but you don't push it all the way through to tie the knot. What you do is you take your hook and just slide it underneath those 2 and then pull on your, what did I call that? Your tail end. So pull on your tail end. Other people do fancy stuff. If you see that and it works for you, great. This is just the easy old school way to do it with your fingers. So now you have a slip knot, and you're right-handed. I'll get into this after in a second video, but I'll show you that again for the slip knot to get it on. So just wrap it around, leave a little bit of extra, and as if you're going to pull it all the way through and tie a knot, just don't pull it all the way through. You can see here, just put your hook there, grab the tail end of your yarn, pull, and then we'll get into how to hold onto the yarn after on the hook. But now this was your tail end. This is going to be what you're going to be working with. So one more time, wrap it around 2 fingers as if you're going to just tie a regular knot. Don't pull it all the way through. And there you go. You're always going to want to make sure if you have different hooks that have different shapes to them, when you're crocheting, make sure that you are always using this part here because this determines the thickness of your stitch. But that there is how to do a slip stitch. So I hope that one helped, and next up I am going to show you basically how to hold the yarn and how to make your starting foundation chain.